when I told my family that, I think politics is a calling, they said I should let it go to voicemail. So,
Today we're having a discussion with Dr. Alfred Dawes. He is the PNP's caretaker or the prospective candidate for Southeast St. Catherine. We're having a discussion with him on his plans for the constituency and some other issues that we will discuss as we go along. Dr. Dawes, you obviously had a pretty successful career as a medical practitioner. What prompted you to throw your hat in the political ring, so to speak, to participate in representational politics?
well, I came out of a home that had a lot of political ties. My father himself never went into representational politics, but served at different levels with boards and so on. The obvious connection with politics, for those who know, would have been former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson, who has been like a mentor to me, not just in my political journey, but my life in general. I consider him as a second father. So there was some influence. I knew representational politics was a bit difficult and demanding. It required sacrifices, and that is why I had some hesitation about throwing my hat in the ring, even though several offers were made before. But I reached a point in time where I believed that I could help one person at a time in my office or in the operating room versus trying to be in a situation where I can help to influence national policies that affect our communities and families and in fact the entire country on a whole. And as such, it was a tough decision, but I decided that I would pretty much give up my medical career for this unknown path, not knowing where it would take me, but trusting that I would learn along the way and I would enjoy the journey on the way because it would be a way where I could amplify my service to my community and my country.
All right, let's go back to something you said earlier in terms of being offered or someone actually asked you to participate in the process before. Was it this same political party, the PNP, and how long ago would that have been?
So both PNP and GLP offered seats. In fact, in 2015, when I had started my advocacy as the president of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association and started to rise to national prominence, the JLP had approached me at that time, since it was benefiting them in terms of the criticisms of the health sector. They really politicized it at the time, and an offer was made to me at the time, which I flat out refused because my concerns were not along the vein of scoring political points. There were genuine concerns about the state of healthcare at that time. And it's funny now how people are, the same JLP are now using those words to say that, oh, I was criticizing PNP on the PNP time. So it's I guess it would speak to more an unbiased approach to my advocacy rather than them using it to say things are bad on the PNP as well.
I think I want to dig a little deeper on that. Who were the persons who approached you and what constituency were they offered?
It came from, I must say, some of the highest levels within the party.
Oh.
And I wouldn't mention the constituency, but that constituency was shortly filled. There was a vacancy there and it was filled shortly after, just in time for the elections. The PNP had offered a seat in for the 2020 elections, but at that time I was in the government sector. I was at Sab Hospital, and I thought that my tour duty was not yet done there, and I was setting up my own private practice at the time, so it would have been a good time.
When it finally made the decision that this is what you're going to do, obviously you would have had to speak with your family and so on to sort of get their support, feedback. What was the initial reaction that you got from your family when you told them that this is what you plan to do?
When I told my family that, I think politics is a calling, they said I should let it go to voicemail. So they were never, my close family, they were never really supportive of it because they knew that the nature of Jamaican politics is that it's tearing down, and there's no finesse, no sophistication, no debates concerning inclinations, whether liberal or conservative, or there's no ideology. It's just tearing down your opponent with nastiness to make them look lesser in the eyes of the public in order for you to win. And they knew that would have been the the um, the consequences of me entering politics. You can't come out unscathed. So that was the main concern at the time. And of course, the money part of it, we know that politics costs a lot of money and it takes away from your ability to earn, especially if you're a hewer of wood or a drawer of water, as I was as a physician.
You find yourself in Southeast St. Catherine. Was it by choice? What's so special about Southeast St. Catherine while you're here?
So, the big decision to leave medicine was really, why it was so difficult was because I was a part of a project to do a private hospital in Portmore. And I figured if I'm going to be an MP, I might as well be close to work. My family home, my second family home, is also in my constituency, and that's where we have always spent Christmases and family events, birthdays, and so on, by my aunt. So I'm very familiar, and I've always been familiar with this constituency for some time now, and I figured it would be my home while I would be MP and working at that hospital. So
Okay.
that was the inclination.
All right. So this constituency, as you know, has a mix of different classes of people, if you wish. Um, Upper middle income earners, middle income earners, poor working class, unemployed, young people, and so on. What are your priority or plans for the constituency in terms of meeting the demands and the needs of this range of different persons and groups that you have to deal with?
Well, this constituency is a very special one in terms of it has the highest concentration of trained persons with degrees and diplomas. I think out of all of the constituencies in Jamaica. It is also mixed with informal communities, persons who also get their livelihood. We have agriculture in the form of fishing, a fishing industry. We have sports here, entertainment. Waterford is one of the divisions that has produced a disproportionate number of entertainers. Gaza has gotten prominence and has had its fair share of bad publicity as well. But with that mix, we really have to look at the fundamental the values of the People's National Party, in that we believe that there is a mass of people who deserve a little bit more priority than others, and whereas residents in your Edgewater, West Bay, Bridgeport, they have traditionally been underrepresented by the members of parliament, in terms of this is according to their many persons' views. They would say that they are neglected. I think that engaging those persons, hearing what they need, it's not a lot. It's the same basic things: road lights and community activities. But with respect to the opportunities offered to their kids, you will have once you have an educated family, the chances of their children going to school and getting a higher education is tenfold that of someone who is born in one of the poorer communities, informal communities. So if we're really looking at the youth, we have to pay a little bit more attention to the youth from the vulnerable communities. And when you look at their risk factors, a lot of them coming from broken homes, single parent homes, a lot of them don't have role models. As soon as the role models make it, they move out of those communities, so they don't have anyone in those communities to look up to. We have to show them through job fairs, we have to show them through mentorship programs, through sports programs, getting them more involved. And that's one of the things I want to do, push sports a lot more, give them skills training, and then show them a pathway where if they stick to a particular path, they too can make it and migrate into one of the neighboring communities where the cars are a little bit better, the houses are a little bit fancier. So we can't just have them looking on at what their neighbors are, how their neighbors are living, and then they see no opportunity. So we have to, as a party, that is how we provided free education, and we lifted so many people out of middle class. We now have to look at how we're going to improve access to education, training opportunities, and to motivate these children with sports programs, mentorship programs, etc. We also have to look at how we're going to empower persons to earn, the fishermen, the fisher folk, the vendors. We have to ensure that they have the tools, they have the proper facilities. A simple thing like having water at the fishing village, that is a major concern that has not been addressed. So, we just have to look at the scarce benefits that we have to offer and appropriate them where they will make the biggest impact. And usually that's with the masses of people. Because, no matter how well you're living, you can't or should not sleep well at night if you know that your neighbor is going to bed hungry. And it doesn't bode well for your safety, because a hungry man will climb any heights and hill to find food.
All right. Of all the things you just said, is there a signature project that you have in mind that you have shared with the constituents, or you plan to discuss with them at some point?
Yeah. So our parks and green spaces are a mess right now. And I think that if you want people to behave in a particular way, less aggression, less stressed, more at peace with themselves, their families, and their neighbors, you have to provide the outlets for them to de-stress. And a big part of that is having parks and recreational activities in those parks. So we want to have jogging trails. What I want is a comprehensive rehabilitation of all the parks in Southeast St. Catherine, and no matter which community you're from, whether it is that you're going there to have a picnic, you're going to spend time with your neighbors. We want to put in exercise machines, outdoor exercise machines, so people can get fit. For the kids, we want to put in money for after school programs, so they at least have some water and refreshments when they come in, and they have a coach. And all of these after school activities, they will be led by the community stalwarts. We have a lot of sporting enthusiasts, coaches, and so on, who they're giving their time free to run different clinics and football programs, netball, basketball, etc. We want to empower those persons, and all the kids should be able to come out and then bring their parents to watch, and they will try to bring back the community spirit. And that's the signature move, that project that I want to have for Southeast.
You have obviously stepped forward to win this race coming up when the general elections are called. And obviously your opponent, Mr. Miller, is not just going to, roll over. I'm sure he must be digging in and doing everything possible to try to gain traction or try to increase on his margin the last time around. Is there any particular strategy that you have to unseat the incumbent?
But I just have to remind people that the incumbents should be running on performance, and the one who is coming in running on promises. You cannot have an incumbent where there is just no record of his performance and he's running on promises as well. We have only seen development and activity within the constituency in the last year, when the government has just been pumping resources to try and regain some mileage with the populace. Has just been nothing. There has been an apartheid approach to governance in the constituency under Mr. Miller's watch, where he controls his funding, his CDF, his allocations, and he has made it clear that he's only responsible for 3 major roadways, whereas everybody else has been suffering in the parochial roads. Within the schemes, there have been a lot of potholes, the drains. The constituency has just been a mess because the councillor's allocation just simply cannot keep up with the demands, and especially when you have floods and so on, it's an issue. So what used to happen was that MPs and councillors used to sit and decide how the CDF and other resources coming in would be spent, and that is how you would have the different housing, the different communities seeing their drains cleaned, the beautification projects, the maintenance of the roads. That has not happened over the last 5 years. If a pothole is to be fixed and the councillor cannot fix it, the MP is not going to fix it. And it is that approach that has led to the deterioration of the infrastructure and the appearance of the communities in Southeast. And that is something that we are going to fix, because we're going to join up back local government with central government and work as a team for the benefit of all of the people, rather than draw these hard lines about who is responsible for what.